We're going to do Form B. Form B is from the driver door fuel area to the rear of the vehicle. We just have to do one axle on the rear of the vehicle. We'll start with the door. The door should open and close. Should have no damage to it, no holes. Check my hinges on the inside of my door. They should be secure, no missing bolts, they're not broken. And check my seal on the door, should not be ripped or torn. I'll check my mirror. My bracket should be straight, securely mounted, not bent or broke. Check the mirror itself, should have no cracks, should be clean. From there, we'll check the diesel exhaust fluid tank. Should be securely mounted, not leaking, no damage to the tank itself. Cap should be secure with the latch, should be sealed. Cap should not be leaking. From there, go on to the fuel tank. My fuel tank should be securely mounted. Strap should be whole, they're not cracked. Should have a rubber underneath it so we don't rub metal to metal. My fuel tank's not dented, not cracked, not leaking. Check my fuel cap. Should have a seal on the inside, should have a chain on the inside. My fuel cap should not be leaking. Check my steps. Make sure my steps are securely mounted. Bolts or rivets are secure. Should be straight, not cracked. Should be no grease or oil or debris on my steps. Alright, on the passenger side of the vehicle we have something unique. It's our exhaust system. We have to come over and check our whole exhaust system. We'll start up at the engine. We got our turbo. Have to check, make sure it's securely mounted. Our clamps are tight, no signs of soot. Securely mounted and not leaking. We'll follow the clamps are tight going into the piping. Our pipe isn't bent or rusted. No signs of soot. Clamps are tight. Goes into our emission devices. These emission devices, we have to make sure that they're securely mounted. No signs of soot. No broken welds. Any clamps that we have or hoses, that they're all tight, secure. On my clamps going into this part are secure, no signs of soot. Any bracing that we have has to be securely mounted, no missing bolts, not cracked, bent, broke, no signs of soot. We'll come out our stack, which our clamps are tight. Any bracing that we have is securely mounted, no broken welds, bolts are tight, not bent or broke. My stack doesn't show any signs of soot. Securely mounted all the way to the top. Must inspect our exhaust system thoroughly, all the way from the engine all the way to the stack. Continue on with my frame. My frame should be straight, no cracks, no holes, should not be twisted. My cross members should be straight, bolts in place. Bolts should not be loose or missing, not welded. Check my catwalk. My catwalk should be secure. Bolts all tight. No grease or oil on my catwalk. Check my drive shaft. Drive shaft should be straight. Carrier bearing should be secure. Bolts are tight. My U-joints should have no debris in them. Bolts should be tight. We'll check an axle. We'll inspect our rear axle here. We'll inspect our brake parts. Start on the inside. I'll check my brake hoses. They should not be kinked, swollen, leaking. Fitting should be tight, not leaking. Check my brake chamber. Should be securely mounted, not cracked. not leaking. Clamp is secure on my brake chamber. My push rod comes out of the back of my brake chamber, should be straight, should not release over an inch with the parking brake released because it's a double brake chamber. Check my slack adjuster, bolts are tight, should be straight, pin should be in place, holding it to my push rod. Inside I check my brake drums. My drums should be smooth, no cracks, no grease or oil, bolts are tight. Should also check my brake pads. They should be sufficient, approximately 1/4 inch, no grease or oil, should not be chipped. We'll go to the suspension parts. I like to check my spring mounts. Got the front spring mount, all the bolts are tight, it's not cracked, it's securely mounted. Rear spring mount, securely mounted, bolts are tight, not cracked. Check my leaf springs. These are a little different, they're on the side, but check springs or torsion arms, not cracked, in alignment, not twisted, not rusted. Check my U-bolts. They should be tight, not shifted, not rusted. Check my shock absorber. My shock absorber should be straight, securely mounted, not leaking. Check my airbag. Should be securely mounted. Bracket holding it should be in place. Nuts are tight. Should not be weather cracked or leaking. Okay, we'll come out and inspect the tire. My minimum tread depth should be 2/32 of an inch. Tread wear should be even, no nails. Check the sidewalls of my tires. Make sure there's no splits or cuts or bubbles. Check my valve stem. Straight, not leaking, has a cap. Check my tire pressure with a gauge. Check my rim, no cracks on my rim, no welds. Has a good bead to the tire, not rusted. Check my lug nuts, none missing, all tight. No signs of rust indicate they might be loose. Check my axle seal. Nuts are tight, none missing, no signs of leak on my axle seal. I also like to check in between my tires, no debris, no rocks or wood, and make sure my rims are flush together in between my tires. Check my mud flap. Should be whole, not split or cut. Should be sufficient in length. Should be securely mounted. Check my lights on the rear of my vehicle. Should be red in color, clean, not cracked, securely mounted. That would conclude Form B.